Israel's new government was sworn in last Thursday, meaning that the new ministers in this government are now taking over their respective ministries. Itamar Ben Gvir has declared that he will ascend the Temple Mount during his first week in office, which would actually make him the first sitting Israeli minister to visit the holy site in 5 years. Did Israel's Air Force strike targets near Damascus last night? And why is the State Department quick to condemn Israel for statements made by her government officials, but remains silent when the PA leadership openly praises terrorism? I'm Josiah, and this is the Israel Guys. Hello and welcome to the Israel Guys, where we believe that in a world of Jew hatred and anti-Israel propaganda that you should have a direct connection to the land and people of Israel. Welcome back to the show, guys, and welcome to the new year. Happy New Year. 2023 is now upon us with the amazing year of 2022 behind us, but we've got a lot of amazing stuff planned for this year here on the Israel Guys. New content, new shows potentially popping out here on our Israel Guys channel, and we're also planning to go out and do more adventure shows. See the area, bust more leftist myths, bust more Palestinian myths, all happening right here on the Israel Guys channel. So I would recommend that maybe one of your first New Year's resolutions you could easily, I don't know if it's a resolution of yours, but one of the first things you could do to start out the new year would be to hit that subscribe button. See what I did there? Also, if you like this video, hit that thumbs up and notification bell so you never miss an episode of the Israel Guys. We're coming to you 3 times a week. Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. We would really appreciate it if you would hit that subscribe and like this video. Thank you very much. All right, guys, a lot happening in Israel right now because after 2-3 years of elections, multiple elections, governments not working out, unable to form coalitions, finally we have a government that right now is looking like it is very likely to last its 4-year term. The elections on November 1st, Netanyahu and the right-wing parties scoring a pretty decent majority in the Knesset with 64 seats. They were the new government. Netanyahu formed a coalition 2 weeks ago and has now sworn in the new government, which actually took place at a session in the Knesset last Thursday. Since then, the newly sworn-in ministers of Netanyahu's government have been assuming control over their various ministries. After the swearing in, after the new government was established, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and his wife Sarah actually visited the Western Wall. It turns out that was last night, Sunday evening, to pray and celebrate the swearing in of the 37th government of Israel. This is the 37th government coalition in the state of Israel. Netanyahu said at the Western Wall, quote, "I must say that I'm also moved this time as well to accept the position and lead the state of Israel. I have come here, the quarry from which we were shaped, to touch the stones of the Western Wall and to remember that we are charged with the obligation of safeguarding the heritage of generations and ensuring our future for the coming generation as well. And this we will do." It's Netanyahu and his wife Sarah visiting the Western Wall to pray and also to celebrate the new government coming into the state of Israel in the Knesset. So some of the new ministers, the new government was sworn in on Thursday, and some of the new ministers, I'll just give you a few of them. It's kind of like the ones you will hear about probably in the news as regarding to things happening in the state of Israel, regards to security and things like that. The defense ministry will be taken over by former IDF Major General Yoav Gallant, who is from Likud, one of the top guys in Netanyahu's party. He's going to be taking on the defense ministry as the defense minister. In his swearing-in ceremony on Thursday, Yoav Gallant said, quote, "I take upon myself the role of defense minister out of a long-standing commitment to Israel's security and a deep understanding of the importance of the duties. We will fight terror without compromise." That was end quote from Yoav Gallant, but he also vowed in that same speech to prevent Iran from obtaining a nuclear weapon. And with Yoav Gallant, who is a former IDF Major General, when you have these guys as the defense minister, obviously depends on where the political views are, but that generally greatly contributes to the security of the state of Israel, having somebody who's very familiar with how the defense of Israel works, also how different strategies works as far as terrorism, as far as keeping your border secure, outside threats coming into Israel, especially with Iran as well. Another one of the ministries, the finance ministry, is being taken over by Bezalel Smotrich from the religious Zionism party. Bezalel Smotrich vowed to work on behalf of every Israeli citizen, saying, quote, "I am not sure that all our steps will be popular, but hopefully they will prove to be correct over time," end quote. And as we've seen, Smotrich has been, especially in the media, I would say probably more in the media than particularly on the ground itself, has been much of a controversial figure. A lot of them calling him an extreme right-winger. If you look at his policies, it's actually not really the case. But he's saying that all the steps may not be popular, but he believes they are the right steps to make. And so he's committed to doing that for the state of Israel. Also, as the finance minister, he vowed to uphold the free market principles that are in place in the nation of Israel right now. The Itamar Ben Gvir, who's also another controversial figure, especially in the media, was sworn in as the public security minister here in Israel. And basically, the public security minister is different from the defense ministry. The defense minister is over the military and the protection of the state of Israel, the military, all the special forces, all the things pertaining to that border protection, all of that. And the public security minister is actually over the police force, also over the prison force, and the fire and rescue services in Israel. So kind of like the name says, the public security of the state of Israel, not having to do with the army and the military, the Israel Defense Forces, the IDF. In the ceremony, actually, they had a big ceremony, I think, where they welcomed him with a military band and all this, where he was handed over the ministry from the former public security minister. Talking to his predecessor, Omar Bar-Lev, Itamar Ben Gvir said, quote, "Every terrorist that wished to harm security forces will feel the consequences, and I will give you full support in this war for you, your families, and our families as well." Speaking of Ben Gvir, he made an announcement, actually informed the chief of police, Kobi Shabtai, that he will be visiting the Temple Mount during his first week in office as the new minister of public security. Ben Gvir has not visited the Temple Mount in, I think, 3.5 months. And this will actually be his first official visit as a minister in Israel's government, the government of the state of Israel. As according to his plans, he plans to go up tomorrow, Tuesday, to the Temple Mount, but there's a lot of details that need to take place, a lot of preparations and accommodating a minister of Israel's government, a lot of security concerns involved to accommodate him to ascend the Temple Mount. It may be pushed off till Wednesday, but as of right now, he's planning to ascend the Temple Mount tomorrow morning. And also, this is another interesting fact that this will be the first time that a sitting Israeli minister, a minister in Israel's government, will ascend the Temple Mount. This is the first time in 5 years that this has happened, going up to the Temple Mount. And also, we know that it's a public statement for Itamar Ben Gvir as the public security minister, to being one of his first priorities is to ascend the Temple Mount and pay reverence to the site, the most holy site for Jews in history. As we know from Islam, it's like the third or fourth holiest site in Islam. But unfortunately, the Islamic regime here and the Jordanian Waqf, for the Islamic religion, have control over the site right now. Not security control, but they have religious control. Therefore, they prevent and keep Jews from going up there as much as possible, and also from praying up on the Temple Mount. Now, what's crazy about this, and unfortunately it's not unexpected coming from a terror group, but it's crazy that top Hamas officials are warning against Ben Gvir's visit to the Temple Mount. Like I said, it's not unexpected, but if you just think about this, it's crazy that they are coming so strongly against this, Itamar Ben Gvir, as a minister in the government of Israel, that he's coming up. So Harun Nasser el-Din, who's a Hamas official, he's actually the Hamas official who's responsible for Jerusalem. He warned on Sunday against the National Security Minister Itamar Ben Gvir's plans to visit the Temple Mount. He published a message which said, "The extremist Ben Gvir is trying to convince his voters that he is implementing his promises by breaking into Al-Aqsa." And Al-Aqsa refers to the Al-Aqsa Mosque, which is up on the Temple Mount. It's not the Dome of the Rock, but the big, large mosque that is up there as well. I'm not sure what he's talking about, because Ben Gvir never made a promise that he will break into the Al-Aqsa Mosque. If there is something out there, please put it down in the comments below, because I've never seen that and never heard of that. It's definitely not true. Maybe somebody will find some statement somewhere, but what we know, this is not completely false. Itamar Ben Gvir has not said this. The Hamas official also said, we hold the government of the occupation, referring to Israel, the state of Israel, responsible for any escalation if there is damage to Al-Aqsa or to our people who are clinging to Jerusalem. So they said, we're going to hold the state of Israel, the occupational government, responsible if there's any escalation or any damage to Al-Aqsa. Went on to say, we are calling our people to protect Al-Aqsa, and we are sure that our people will thwart all attempts to impose a new reality on Al-Aqsa. So they're calling on their people to protect Al-Aqsa. At the same time, they're saying we are going to hold Israel responsible for any escalation or damage up on the Temple Mount. This whole statement, I don't know if you catch this, but this whole statement is what you would call an escalation. Basically trying to escalate things. Itamar Ben Gvir is just going to go up there. He's not going to make a scene. He's not going to break into the mosque. He's not going to do any of these things. He's going to go up there. He's going to walk around. He's probably going to pray silently. He may try to, I don't know, show some outward form of prayer, which, wow, wouldn't that be a horrible thing? Obviously, I'm being sarcastic here, but it's a sad reality of what's happening on the Temple Mount today. And obviously, Hamas is very, very upset at this, and they're saying Israel, they're calling on their people, the Palestinian people, to thwart all attempts to impose a new reality on Al-Aqsa and to protect Al-Aqsa. And as we've seen in the past, all these calls that these leaders of the Palestinian people, when they say come and protect Al-Aqsa, turns into violent riots on the Temple Mount, imposed by the Palestinians, who start to riot, and then the Israeli police have to come in to break it up, to keep people safe and to keep the peace and the calm in Jerusalem. And then they say, oh no, we're going to blame Israel for it because Israel is responsible for this escalation, even though we just called on our people to come and protect the Temple Mount. Fortunately, it's Israel's fault, according to Hamas. And actually, even earlier, Nasser al-Din, this Hamas official, had called on Muslims in Judea and Samaria and in Israel to come to Al-Aqsa in order to stop the visits of the Jews to the site, and stressing, quote, that the Palestinian people will remain a defender of the Al-Aqsa Mosque and the holy places, and will stand behind the resistance in dealing with the occupation. It's basically an all-out war declaration by Hamas on what is happening in Israel, and saying that this is the occupation, saying that the Jews, by Jews visiting, that they need to defend Al-Aqsa from Jews visiting. What is so threatening about Jews coming to visit the site, and even Christians? Unfortunately, this is reality on the ground, and this is what they're so scared of. Guys, let me tell you about what happened last night in Damascus, but first, I'm going to talk about today's sponsor. Blessed by Israel provides you with the opportunity to buy products made right here in Judea and Samaria and have them shipped right to your doorstep. Our friends at Blessed by Israel ship the beautiful products of small businesses and families from Israel's heartland to people all around the world. Thanks to Blessed by Israel, you can experience the wonderful taste, smells, and goodness of Israel with amazing extra virgin olive oil, fragrant soaps, rich Turkish coffee, incredible holy cacao chocolate, and much, much more. When you buy products from Blessed by Israel, you are making an impact on the farmers and small businesses of Judea and Samaria. That's right, your purchases are an effective way to contribute to the strengthening of Israel. So head over to blessedbuisrael.com to buy these wonderful products and make an impact on Judea and Samaria. Again, go to blessedbuisrael.com and use the code INVEST for $5 off your first order. Link is in the description below. All right, so the official Syrian news agency, the SANA, reported that the country's air defense systems acted against an Israeli attack south of the capital last night. Syrian television reported that Israeli aggression against targets in the Damascus area. Also, according to the reports, sounds of the explosions were heard all throughout the capital, Damascus, the capital of Syria. Another Syrian military source also said that the strike targeted the Damascus International Airport area. They said that the airport was damaged, and also both of the runways at the airport were shut down due to the attack. The Israeli military has not addressed or commented on this incident, on this strike, and likely they will not comment on either. And if you're trying to wonder, is this really Israel? The likelihood of it being Israel striking these targets is very, very high. I would say that definitely was Israel, and but this is not something that is unprecedented, because we know that Israel continues to strike a lot of targets, military targets in Damascus. They're not just targeting the airport. They're not just targeting civilian areas. They are targeting military, and most of these military are actually backed by Iran. Inside of Syria, that's happened last couple months. I think the last one was like 2 weeks ago. They targeted military sites in Damascus or in Syria somewhere, also several months ago. They continue to do it. And we know that anytime Israel ever strikes any place, and especially outside of the country, it is not without really, really good reason to. And they know of a specific military, maybe it's a rocket launching site where the military forces there, Hezbollah or these Iranian-backed forces, militant groups, are about to attack Israel from there. Could be one of these things, but Israel is always ready to strike where it needs to, but never more than that. They're very cautious about making sure to avoid civilian casualties, things like this, but are committed to keeping the state of Israel safe. And a lot of times that involves striking military targets outside of Israel's borders, those that are threatening the existence and the security of the state of Israel. All right, guys, we're almost out of time for today, but I want to cover one more thing, and this really is interesting because the State Department has been strangely silent on a certain thing that happened and certain statements made by the Palestinian Authority over the last week and a half. The Palestinian Authority president and the prime minister both glorified and praised a terrorist who had just died in Israeli prisons. This terrorist was responsible for the murder of 7 Israelis, including 2 American citizens who are also dual citizenship, Israeli-American citizens. On the 20th of December 20th, a commander in the Al-Aqsa Martyrs Brigade, the Al-Aqsa Martyrs Brigade, by the way, is a U.S. designated terror organization. So he's a commander in this terror organization. He died in an Israeli prison. He was responsible for a string of terror attacks during the Second Intifada, including the murders of Americans Benjamin and Talia Kahan. He had also been previously found guilty of murdering 5 Palestinians who had collaborated with Israel. So this guy, horrible. This is a terrible guy. Terrorist, also a murderer, murdering these Palestinians who had collaborated with Israel, reportedly. After the terrorist death, so this is on December 20th, after the terrorist death, the official Palestinian Authority news agency, WAFA, released a statement from President Mahmoud Abbas, Palestinian Authority President Mahmoud Abbas, announcing, quote, "To our people, the fighters and the free people of the world, the death of heroic martyr, prisoner, and commander," I won't even say his name, "this terrorist who died as a martyr today as a result of the policy of deliberate medical neglect. Slow murder," end quote, from Mahmoud Abbas. So this terrorist died of lung cancer in Israeli prisons. And the Palestinian leadership is accusing Israel of negligence in deliberately killing this terrorist in the prison. The Israel Prison Service actually rebuffed this accusation, and they said that the prisoner received regular and close care from Israel's prison service, and also medical from the medical staff at the prison, and also from external professionals. Unfortunately, he died from the result of his lung cancer in Israeli prisons. Also, the prime minister of the Palestinian Authority, Mohammed Shtayyeh, also released a statement through the same agency, WAFA, saying, quote, we also console ourselves and our people over the loss of a fighter and a pure-hearted son of Palestine who sacrificed his freedom for the honor and freedom of his people in his homeland. You guys can read, I mean, you don't even have to read between the lines because you just hear this statement. This is clear praise for terrorism coming from both the president, Mahmoud Abbas, and the prime minister of the PA. Now, what did the State Department have to say about this clear praise of terrorism coming from the Palestinian Authority? Nothing. No statement came from the State Department, when the same State Department is very quick to condemn any statements made by certain figures that are now officials in Israel, in Israel's new government, saying these guys are racist. Maybe people like Itamar Ben Gvir, Bezalel Smotrich, saying that terrorists need to be deported from the state of Israel. The State Department was quick to condemn them for saying things like this in the past, also saying that statements like that are racist against Arabs, saying that terrorists needed to be deported. Also, but in this case, with the Palestinian Authority clearly praising terrorism, Nothing from the State Department. So in a response to an inquiry from the Jewish News Syndicate to the State Department about this Palestinian glorification, the leadership's glorification of terrorism, a State Department spokesperson responded to JNS, the Jewish News Syndicate, that, quote, "The United States is wholly opposed to terrorism. We have made this position clear on many occasions and will continue to do so. We call on all parties to take steps to calm tensions and to bring peace and prosperity to this region," end quote. That's from the State Department. They responded to JNS when they asked him for a comment on this incident with the Palestinian Authority leadership. Unfortunately, State Department still did not make any reference to this incident, did not make any reference, completely failed to condemn the PA leadership for their blatant praise of this terrorism. Guys, again, we're seeing this horrible attitude towards Israel, this horrible policy of siding with Israel's enemies, siding with terrorists, people who praise terrorism, coming from the State Department, and we're here to say that this is not okay. I'm an American citizen. I'm calling on the State Department saying, this is not okay. You cannot fail to condemn terrorism, condemn the PA leadership who praises terrorism, while at the same time sometimes stabbing your ally, Israel, in the back for things that are not even come to the standards of what you would call racism or things like that. Unfortunately, this is the case we're dealing with in the State Department today. But let's stand up for the state of Israel. Let's call on the State Department and say, no, we are not okay with this. And we're not going to stand for things like this that happen. Guys, let us know what you think in the comments below. But in the meantime, tune out the fake news and tune in to what is actually happening in the land of Israel. Remember, we'll be back every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday with your direct connection to the land and people of Israel.